Okay, this has been a talk everywhere. It's this low frequency, high value, low value. It's about the same kind of mumbo jumbo, yin yang, wahala, all this stuff that really kind of gets people confused. High value is not determined by the amount of money that you have in your pocket. Oh, trust me, it is not. It's so much bigger than that. It's so much vast. It's so vast. It's so vast. It is so much, and it's got us in a stronghold. Let's talk about it. Uh, Welcome to Deanna Inspires. This is for Inspire Perspectives. Welcome to my channel. Let's talk about this high value, high frequency, low frequency. Um, Wahala. I mean, really? Yeah, I've been stewing with this a little bit. This message, this conversation about the high value stuff, and I think that it has really got us as a collective in a stronghold. It's choking us to death. It's choking the life out of us. It is a setback. It is a setup for a setback because it keeps us from connecting with one another. It keeps us from finding mates. It keeps us from finding the one that we would marry in, or friendships or business connections. It's different things. Now, mind you, there is a difference between someone who is high value and low valued, or high frequency, low frequency. They mean something, but it ain't about money. It ain't about it is it is not about money. That is the misnomer here. It is not about the fine tailored suit, or the hair and nails and dress and all that stuff, and where you travel. That has nothing to do with it. You can be low value and low frequency and do all those things. However, it is about character. It is about character. How many times have anyone have gotten themselves into a relationship? It is about character. That's all it's about. It is about. I just want to fight because I hear it so much. Not literal fight, but it's just like, ooh, I've been stewing with this because I want to be able to have my words right when I speak a thing. It's imperative because I want people to hear it. This is not gender based at all, because a lot of the things I talk about is just about people. It's people based. When I get to gender things, you'll hear me say man, woman, male, female, and all of that. This, if we can't deal with just people in the character traits, because really it's about character. Have you ever been married to, have dated, or have friendships with people who are maybe high value, but the character is stinks? That is low frequency. That is low value. So they think they're high value because of money. Money just makes you rich. Money makes you well off. Money makes you wealthy, but it will never develop your character. You have to have a balance of the two. So you can have someone who is low frequency with a lot of money, but they stink. They stink with their character. They have the terrible character traits ever. They have the nice house, they have the nice car, they have the nice everything. You know, it's not gender based. You have all these things and they look good coming and going. They'll turn heads wherever they go, no matter if they're male or female, one man or woman, they turn heads. But they stink with their attitude. They think they're better than others. They don't have gratitude. They don't really care for people, it seems sometimes. It um, it carries into a lot of other things. Maybe selfishness is a thing that they behold. Maybe they look down on others because they're not where they are. You have those people. You have those people. It's a segment of people that live in this world with us who embody this. Then you have somebody who is, low frequency or have a low value as far as money is concerned. But they have high value in their character. They're kind, they're giving, they're selfless, they're all of these things. They have great work ethics. They have all these things, but because of society, they look at them as having low value. That has absolutely nothing to do with anything. You have to build upon your character traits. And we're going to talk about this. What does a low value person look like? What do they look like? People who are low value usually have unclear goals, personal growth, or lacking in those areas. People who, they don't have much of a, disciplined life. They don't have self-discipline. They're not very focused. They're not as positive. They're not, all these things that bring about who a person really is. It's without all the things, the material possessions. It is people you want to sit on the bench with and talk to in a park. It's people who bring something delightful to the conversation, who are kind and giving and selfless, and they you can gather that from just talking with them, sharing a cup of coffee, or just a basic conversation. You've gathered more from them than their things that they have. I had a friend, just a platonic friend, millionaire. You would never see that he, just looking at him, you would never know that he was at that level. And it amazed me. He drove a Toyota pickup truck. It was just beat up to death, but he enjoyed having that truck because it did other things for him within his business. And in that business, having that truck, and in his business, he was renovating houses and doing all these things. And it was wonderful. I thought it was a great thing to do and have. But when I just having a conversation with him, he was like, listen, nobody can, if no woman can get in this car, in this truck with all this stuff in it, and I mean, it was a utility truck. So she can't get in this car. She can't be with me. And the thing, I laughed and I was like, I don't have a problem getting in the truck. I'm just a friend, but I laugh because there are people who won't get in this truck. Well, the truth of his story is he's a multimillionaire, but he lives a basic life as far as like how he handles his day to day. Now you go to his house, he has a beautiful home, and he had a boat on the lake and all these different, he can go anywhere he wanted to go. But someone would look at him in his shorts and his Timberlands and whatever he had in sneakers and stuff, and they would think nothing of him. They will pass him completely by. It's almost a tactic for him not to show off everything that he had. But some woman would just pass him by because they would think, oh, he ain't got nothing going on. And he had everything going on. He had that and then some. He owned several houses and stuff, and he had like a portfolio of 25 to 50 houses. It's just crazy. But you would look over him because of what he didn't look like. That will exemplify someone else looking at him having low value because you don't see the value in someone else. Someone has more value beyond the material trappings. So, and he had a positive mindset. Anything he wanted to achieve, he could achieve because he knew it, he believed it, and he did the work. The work spoke for itself. But because he wasn't driving the car, he had the cars. The only woman that was going to see those cars were just the female friends, the women friends he had, or the platonic ones that he had, his family. And the male friends, we knew, but nobody outed him because he had a way of being able to sift through the BS of people who would look at him and not think that he had more to offer. He wanted conversation. He wanted the simplicity of life. He wanted to make sure the woman in his life embodied that, and that because they embodied that, they enjoyed everything else that came with him. You understand what I'm saying? And so he had high value, but he also had the high value as far as his character and everything, but he also had high value when it came to the financial piece. So in both areas, he was like everything anybody would want in a friend and a business partner and a relationship, a marriage. He would be everything you would want. I've had female friends in the same position. They're good. They have great, financial acumen. They are they're kind, they're loving, they're giving, they're all these things, right? And they don't put all the bling bling to the forefront. They don't do that. So those things don't indicate high value. It is your character. Your character carries you everywhere. If you're grateful and thankful and you have positive energy and positivity around you, you speak positivity, you are positive, you are mindful, you have mindful practices going on all the time, you stay aware and you avoid negative experiences and negative people and negative situations. And it is a pattern, something you see over time, and it's consistent. And those people embody that kind of stuff if you pay attention. Somebody who is high value in that area, they maintain optimistic outlook on life. If you don't have an optimistic outlook, you're not going to be high value for me. You're not going to be high value for other people, because people gravitate to people who have the mindset of being optimistic and having a good outlook on life. If you limit your negative influences, that means, listen, we all have one of them in our family. We all have somebody in our family that's kind of like a little shady. A little shady. You can get a little something here, a little something there from, but you cannot keep riding with these people. You know the negative outcomes of continuously being around certain groups of people who are not good for you. And even not to that level, just people who will just speak negatively, do it just not on the right side of moving forward. Okay. They don't have goals. They're okay where they are. Um, Maybe they flip burgers. Oh, hey, be the best burger flipper that you can be. There's nothing wrong with that. It's an honorable job. But it's when you have negativity behind it, because you can actually be the manager and you can actually own several stores or be a general manager in several stores. It is your outlook and your mindset and your mindfulness of how you think about the job that you're doing at that time. You know, you have to surround yourself with the positive. It goes back to surrounding yourself with positivity and positive influences in your life, and limit that. There's toxic relationships. A lot of people can't even identify toxic relationships because you're looking at the money and saying that that's high value. That is not high value. You might be with an a-hole who got money. That's low frequency. You may be with somebody who got money but lacks accountability and responsibility. They don't have any accountability or responsibility for their lives and the things that have gone on in their lives. They're always projecting onto other people what happened in their life, and not saying, okay, this is what I did. And maybe it was someone else's fault, but it is your responsibility to decide how you want your life to be. That's high value. You are taking responsibility and you're taking accountability. That is high value. That is knowing that you are responsible for how you move forward from here, this point going forward. It is no one else's business but yours. It is nobody else's business but yours to create the life you want to have by putting things in place, like limiting the negative influences, surrounding yourself with positive people and positivity and all of these things. You want to cultivate gratitude. These are the things that I'm gonna intertwine the low frequency in the high frequency things. If you do not cultivate gratitude, that's operate on a low frequency, right? Or a low value. You're not setting value for yourself. So because you're not being grateful. You have to acknowledge and appreciate the things around you, what you have been given, your well being, your habits, your everything. All these things matter. You have to have a positive aspect of your life. How do you not do that? How do you not do that and be grateful? How do you, well, I should say this, how do you do that and not be grateful? How? I don't understand. Please help me. The math ain't mathing. When you show gratitude, your life shifts, things shift, energy shifts, the atmosphere shifts to open doors for you. That's high value. That, my dears, is high value. You can spread all the money you want across a bed. That will get you the house, the car, the this, the that, but it cannot buy you character. It cannot, and it won't ever buy you character. If you're a mean son of a gun, then you're a mean son of a gun until you decide that I'm going to start to operate with kindness. Okay? So you have to decide who you're going to be, where you're going to be, how you're going to be, who you're going to be around, who are your friends, who are the things you do, who are your business partner, the family members that you're going to have to distance yourself from who are not quite working in that place. They may love you. They may even like you, but they may not be the people you need to be around to get you to where you need to be in life. You know, they may not be your biggest supporters and your biggest cheerleaders. You need cheerleaders. You need people who are going to sharpen your iron, because iron sharpens iron. And every level you go, you should have friends that support you as you go along, or people who are ahead of you who are doing great things, that the things you want to do. That's high value, because they have set the path and now you're reaching towards that and you're moving, but you have to switch your mind to how you want this to be. So you want to engage in self-care. Okay, engage in the self-care. So if you are a low value person, you don't care about nothing, honey. Give me some burgers, and that's plural. It's some fries, and that's plural. And you're eating in gluttony. You are constantly eating in bad ways. Every time you sit down to eat, it's a big plate of something. You're feeling something that's missing in your life. You're filling that up instead of filling your soul and your spirit with something good in your life that is going to get you off the couch, that's going to get you in the center of life and in the arena of life. It's going to set your value so high, because when people see that you work out, people see that you're doing for yourself and caring for you, it doesn't matter that you're not quite there yet. People see that, feel that aura, that energy, that everything. They see the determination, and they want to be a part of that, and they want to cheer for that. They want to support that. And if you are in that mode, honey, it's nothing that you can't do. They see it, they feel it, and they want to be on your team. That's high value, people. That's high value. That's high value. And that won't matter if you have all the money in the world or a dollar in your pocket. People will want to give you the money, and you'll become the millionaire because of it, because of your ongoing life. They You've seen it happen. You've seen it happen right here on these YouTube streets. People who probably started out a channel and all of a sudden they're getting gifts because of the things that they're imparting onto people. They're showing value, and they started out with $0 or very little money, and now they have, because they brought value to the world, because this is a world, organization, a world app. You're touching people everywhere. You're impacting people everywhere. That's high value. That is high value. You focus on solutions. You're always ready to solve a problem. You're looking at the solution, not the problem. See, that's the difference between somebody who's low value, always looking at the problem. Well, with me, life sucks. Why is this happening to me? Somebody who's high value is saying, this is happening to me for a reason, and I want to find out why it's happening. Solution based. Why does this keep happening to me? Solution based. They want to know, because there's a lesson in this somewhere, and I'm going to find it. Right? My business is suffering somewhere, so I don't know, or my organization, my employees, there's a weak link somewhere. Solution. They're looking for the solution. How do we improve? How do we get better? because everyone, they see the value in everyone around them in their organization and their business and all of there's value here, but there's a weak link somewhere. So we got to find a solution. So let's find the solution. Setting boundaries. You want to protect your energy. People who are low frequency always, open the doors to everybody. They and I'm not saying you have a wall like Fort Knox, but you have to have a sense of who you are. High value, high value. Knowing who you are is high value, and boundaries set. High value. Sorry, high value. When someone example, when someone asks me, Deanna, listen, I need a favor. I need a favor from you. And my response is, it depends on what it is. Setting boundaries, it depends on what it is. Well, wait a minute. You're supposed to say yes. No, I'm not. Setting boundaries. Well, why do you say that? I say that because depending on what it is, will depend on how much time or effort I can give that you're about to ask me. And you haven't even told me what it is yet. So I will be committing myself to something that I have no clue about. And I refuse to commit myself to something I'm not really sure about yet. And if I have the time or capacity, boundaries, to help you out in this instance, maybe it may not be in my wheelhouse. You have to be able to articulate and communicate the things that you have available, be it your time, your energy, your capacity, right? Or your knowledge, intellect, right? What do you have? Setting those boundaries, it will keep your energy levels boosted because you start pouring into people who are not quite ready either, as well. You don't know. You're just saying yes to everything. No, you can say no. No is a complete sentence, and you don't even have to give an explanation for it. But we do that because it's the kind thing to do. It is the thing you do just to be kind. Just to be kind. That's enough, right? So when you're high value, you're goal oriented. Um, you know how to set goals, but it's actual goals. It is the goals that you can obtain easily, but it builds upon each other. You don't do it so big that you can't. That's high value. That is knowing what you are capable of doing, time, knowledge, capacity, intellect, team. You have a team around you to help execute these things. Those are high value. Someone who's low value is trying to run everything by themselves. They're a one man show, and they keep piling more tasks on, and never getting to what they really want to do, what they really need to be doing and needing to execute. They get caught up in that and they get overwhelmed, so they do nothing. Low value, low frequency, spinning around, chasing your tail. High value, high frequency, look to others, to support you, look to others to delegate, set actionable goals that everyone can reach in your organization or with yourself, one thing at a time. Self discipline. Yay! You got to be disciplined in this. This is where it gets gooder. To be able to be disciplined is to know that you are capable of doing something. You have let go of all the things that distract you. Television, social media, to an extent. Please watch this channel because I'm helping you through this. But limit your social media intake. Limit the time that you're just scrolling through aimlessly through things, right? You got to get focused on something. If your focus is, for instance, losing weight, building muscle, whatever, or fasting, detoxing, all of these things, it takes discipline. It takes your complete discipline, your complete focus to be able to achieve these goals. That's shutting down anything and anyone who's coming to ask you for a favor. Watching a television show or documentaries, which I'm into forever, and you got to cut yourself off. The worst thing for me is watching a Netflix series that's got 40 something series, 47 what episodes, that's it, episodes, and it's just crazy. I got caught up in one time, and it's just like, oh my gosh, the sun is coming up, and I went, oh, I vowed I would never do that again, but I had the time, trust me. But I beat myself up about it because I am disciplined in the things I decide to do. When I decide to do something, I see it all the way through, and you have to be that for yourself. And people don't know that that is high value. When you can be disciplined, trust me, people are seeing what you're capable of doing. People can see that. And they're paying attention to you. They're watching everything that you do. Everything. Trust. And they'll notice whether or not you're disciplined. Oh, she a little flaky. She said she was gonna do that thing. She's still sitting over there doing nothing. She just be talking. Low frequency. When you're just talking about a thing and never executing and never showing discipline and focus, people see that too. She's been talking about that for 2 years, 3 years, and he's been talking about that for 2, 3 years. They just, you don't build trust in who you are. That's low frequency. People are expecting you to do the things you say you're going to do. That's why you don't speak it until you are doing it. I'll take 3 months, 3 good months before, because now I can see whether or not this is something I can see to the end, that I have been disciplined. It takes about 30 days for you to be totally disciplined in something, and create a habit around it. And I know definitely 3 months I've locked in. I've locked in. And now this is it. And so in that time, now I can tell the world. Now I can tell my friends and family, hey, I'm doing this. Check this out. This is what I got. These are my plans. I got a business plan. I got execution. I got my marketing. I got my this, got my that. All these things are taking place. All these things are taking place, and they didn't know behind the scenes. That is discipline and focus. High value. I didn't mention anything about money. Everything is about character. It's about your intrinsic values that you have within you. These are the things you should be looking for when you talk about a mate. And I don't care how much, if people are making 30,000, 40,000, 100,000, one up. If you don't see certain character traits within a person, yeah, you might want to rethink that. So you have resilience. How many times have you failed and you feel like you can't get up? Low value. If you can't get up and bounce back from something that has taken place, I'm not saying a moment of mourning, because you're allowed that, but you got, at some point, you got to still rise and get back up, get back on the horse. You got a race to run, your own personal race, to set your value on the earth. And you want it to be high value, high frequency. That's it. That's it. Because people say, man, he or she, they have a bounce back game that's like ridiculous, right? Your business failed. You want to sit back and go, oh my God, my business, the money, the this, my mistake. Take the mistakes, take the lesson, take everything that happened and learn from it. Take a course, hire the right people, fire the wrong people, and get your organization back in place and get yourself back in focus. Resilience, high value. How long it takes you to get back into the game. Don't stand in the stands. You got to be in the arena. You got to be on the floor with the rest of us. High value. High value, right? Emotional intelligence. Ha. Understanding your emotion and knowing how to manage it. If you do not master that, man, that will wipe you off the map. If you get triggered anytime someone says something that is unfavorable to you, you don't know how to manage your emotions. And anything someone says, it will be like the wind blows. You will get triggered. You need therapy. You need to handle your anger. You need to handle your emotions. You need counseling. You need therapy. You need to figure out, why do I get frustrated so quickly? Why do I get angry so quickly? Why do I have this carrying this pain around? Why do I lash out at other people? Why? Why is that? Not, oh, they did that to me. Projecting, that is low value. Low value. High value, they're very calm. They're taking in anything you're saying, anything you may say, anything you may have done, and they're assessing who you are. And is it true? Is it real? Does this affect me? Does this affect the people around me that I care about and love? Or is this just a you issue? Because people like that will never allow for people outside of them to rattle them. And they will ask themselves those questions in their mind. High value. High value. That doesn't mean they don't ever get angry or frustrated, but they don't stay in frustration and anger. It's only moment by moment based on what's happening outside of them when it comes to protecting themselves from the likes of you or not you, but whoever that person is, or people, their family, their loved ones. Then you might see a different person, but they don't stay in that and they don't rest in that. They handle the business, but they always function at a high level of intelligence, of emotional intelligence. People who are on a low frequency, a low value, everything that triggers them, they're always word for word ready to fight, ready to go for blows, ready. Anytime someone says something to them, they're still dealing with a level of pain that the people that they're in front of have nothing to do with a lot of times. It is something that is deep down inside that has not been handled and healed, and they need healing. They need to be healed. They're not whole yet. They're not incapable of being whole, but they're not whole yet, and they need to get there. Especially as an adult, you need to get there. You need to get there fast, and you need to get rid of that because that will carry you all throughout your life. And everything you think you want to achieve, you won't. You won't, or you won't hold on to it for long, even if you get there. Because if you think you can get there with always lashing out at people, always yelling at people as soon as someone says something to you out of that you think is out of pocket because you didn't hear it right or you didn't hear it at all. You were hearing it, but you weren't listening. You took something and you made I won't even say a mountain. You made that level piece, you something that's even leveled all the way into a mountain of problems that wasn't even there based on what you thought you heard because you weren't listening. Low value, low frequency. And these people who rest in the low frequency of that stay right there. They stay right there. And they usually have a circle of friends that are just like them. And they feed off each other like leeches. They feed off each other and they leech off each other. And it's just a cesspool of going nowhere but in a circle, chasing themselves, chasing their tail. So to get out of that means you have to have a different mindset. You have to have a level of self-awareness, right? Self-awareness, responsibility, and accountability to get yourself out of that situation, out of that mindset, into new friendships, new groups, new everything. That is someone in a low frequency moving to a high frequency. It's all about mindset. We talked about setting boundaries. So it's the same thing, setting boundaries, healthy boundaries, not just boundaries, healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries is what you know when you have a set of tools that help you in situations where somebody's yelling at you or someone wanting to get you to do something that you're quite not ready to do, you're not ready to do, or someone that makes you upset. You understand you have established things solid of who you are, and you're not going to be moved by someone else's emotional outburst. And so you set these boundaries where you leave, you leave the space. And wherever you're not being served, you leave. Wherever you are being served and handed nastiness, filth, attitude, you know, trouble, everything, it's time to leave. It's time to go. And that has a lot to do with the negative mindset, just all negativity. That negativity mindset is something your mind will play tricks on you. It'll imagine something to be when it's not. No value. Someone who's high value sees things as they are, understands it, and they wonder, is this my business? If it ain't my business, I'm going up the street, get me some ice cream. I'll be back. I'm going to get a cup of coffee. Y'all want some? Because that's none of their business. They're not worried about things that are not their business because they're focused on their business and anyone who's in their organization. How we gonna rise? In their friendship group, who's in the same mindset? How are we gonna rise? That's what they're concerned about. Everything else is none and void. It's null and void. It's mute. I don't have time for that. The big thing between a high value and low value personality and or frequency is they are continuously learning. A high value person is continuously learning something. They're on a continuum. They never think they know everything. So you don't know everything. We don't know everything. Constantly learning. You're reading a book. You're reading several books. You're on podcasts. You're listening to podcasts. You're listening to books on audio. If you don't have the time, you're constantly feeding your mind positivity. You're around positive people with positive discussions, ways of improving. You're on wellness journeys. You're going places where you're detoxing. You're detoxing at your home. You're doing all these great things. You're traveling. You're doing always learning. You're always in spaces and places where people are giving you something that you didn't have before. Knowledge, wisdom. You're looking at documentaries. You're learning about things that outside of yourself, outside of your even your world, because you may not have grown up in places where you were exposed, but these people expose themselves. High value. They're going to museums. Somebody low value. Oh, who's going to a museum? That stinks. Oh, that's terrible. I'm going somewhere and drink. Let's go get some drinks. Nothing wrong with that, but that's your MO. That's your MO every day, every week. Going to the club. You ain't read a book. Going to the club. You haven't gone to a museum. Gone to the club. Have you read a book on listened to a book on audio? Going to the club, hanging out with friends, same block, same place, same people, same everything, a cesspool of nothingness. You haven't looked at a documentary that will fill your brain up and change your mind and alter your thinking about the world. Do you have a passport? You haven't been across the street. You haven't been across town. You don't know what's going on across town. Let's just get rid of the pass. Well, let's put the passport on hold. Have you been across town to see what's going on in your own town or your own city, your own state, let alone anywhere else? Have you been anywhere else to see what other people are doing? Low frequency. I'm not saying that as far as like, if you don't have the means, that's different. Because if you don't have the means, doesn't mean that you don't have a high value thinking. Because it's just a matter of time before you start accumulating the funds to be able to do the things you want to do out here. But guess what? We got these things called phones, smartphones, and smart TVs and computers and things that will take you anywhere you want to be. Get on one, find out what's going on in another part of the world, another part of your city or state or country. Find out things that you wouldn't know about. Find out the things that you want to learn about that you didn't even know about. When something comes across my view that I don't know about, I'm like, let me go look that up. Let me find out more about that. If I happen to know someone who knows about that, I'm like, you know what, tell me about that. Tell me more about that because I saw this come across and I know you work kind of in this industry and it just, my curiosity was just heightened. Like, what is this about? I'm curious. I stay continuously wanting to learn. And as long as you continuously want to learn, you will continue to learn. You can be living in the greatest of neighborhoods, the most beautiful landscape neighborhoods, and still be low frequency. So let me just add that to the pot. But always at the club, always, popping bottles and putting your money somewhere in somebody else's undies. But guess what? You ain't doing nothing for your community. How are you impacting your community? It's not just giving out, um, I know, books and backpacks on a daily basis. On a daily basis, what are you doing? Like your representation of where you go and who you are and who you be should always be a part of you. High frequency. No one should ever see you out of pocket. High frequency. Low frequency. I'm somewhere in a deep dive, doing deep dive things in the abyss that nobody should see me there, but I'm there. Low frequency. Pretending because you're money that you're high frequency. See the difference? There's a difference in that. Your high frequency should always be high because usually in high frequency, there's a righteousness that goes along with it. There's a righteousness that goes along with it. And that's where the Most High blesses those who ride high with the Most High on a high frequency. Hey, so decide where you want to be, decide who you want to be. And let's get busy. Know that what high frequency is. We just outlined it here. This is Deanna Inspires, and this is Inspired Perspectives. I hope that you got something out of this. And if you did, hit the like button and share and subscribe. We're going to talk some more about some real things. It's going to get deep and it's going to be lighthearted, but it's going to be good. You may not like all the things that I say, but who likes everything that anybody says? As long as you get the lesson and you learn, it makes you think and open your mind to something greater and better is waiting for